South Carolina Congressman Russell Fry. Good morning, Congressman. So, long road to get here, but ICE, Customs and Border Protection, finally fully funded. They hadn't been since February. That was through the One Big Beautiful Bill. They're now headed, they're going to have funding for the next 3 years at least. Are you finally good to have this behind you?
I think I am. I think I speak for the American people, too, that are just very glad that we're finally funding our police, the people who are supposed to protect one of the most sacred things about a country, which is a border. Look, this is why we won the election. And so to have this finally sent to the president's desk, despite Democrat opposition and really ridiculous opposition when you boil it down, it's a good day for good government, and this bill heads to the president's desk.
We know in both chambers lawmakers are already working on the next reconciliation bill, but your colleague, Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith, says he won't get behind it unless tax provisions are included. This could be a major GOP wish list. How are you feeling about Reconciliation 3.0?
Look, I think we owe it to the American people to be bold. This is the moment that the American people expected when they sent us to Congress and sent us to the White House just a few years ago. And so we need to be bold, take this moment, run with it. Obviously, we're in an election year, and so it'll be a great bill with a lot of provisions. But I think the chairman hits on a good point, which is chairmen should be empowered in this process to make sure that they have provisions within this bill. So from a tax perspective, certainly I think there's room in this bill and a lot of other chairmen too on ways that we can improve what happens out of Washington, D.C. And so certainly support the effort broadly of making sure that we're driving this train and we're getting to the wishes of the constituents that we represent.
I want to switch gears here a little bit, Congressman, and over to a hearing that you participated in Tuesday with the House Judiciary Committee in the Southern Poverty Law Center, which faces allegations of giving money to extremist groups. Democrats turned it into something else, of course. Take a look at this.
This third hearing is clearly part of a broader effort built on a pathetic, blind loyalty to one man, Donald Trump.
The proper response to speech you don't like is counter speech, not government prosecution, not government censorship.
So why are Republicans putting us through this absurd gaslighting Olympics for a third time? Because their assault on the SPLC is a crucial part of the assault on democracy itself.
I'm not aware that Donald Trump is involved with the SPLC, but were you surprised at all by just the theatrics you saw in that hearing?
You know, in law, they say if you're in a trial, if you don't have the facts, argue the law. If you don't have the law, argue the facts. And if you have neither, pound the table. What we saw yesterday was the Democrats pounding the table, really in a ridiculous display to distract really ultimately what this indictment is about, which is that the SPLC was funding the hate that they ostensibly were against, and they used it as a fundraising platform, raked in tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, really by defrauding their donors. And so I think this is deeply troubling for the American people. The American people don't want to be targeted either. And they look at this list, this hate list that the SPLC has, and the only requirement that the SPLC seems to have consistent to get on the list is be on the right, somewhere on the right. They don't have any Democrat-leaning organizations or entities on there. It is solely for the purpose of demonizing conservatives. You have PragerU, you have family councils on there, you have Moms for Liberty, which their only crime was being an advocate for students or for their kids in the classroom. So this is really a ridiculous display by Democrats on a very troubling point, which is the weaponization of entities and targeting conservatives.
Yeah, I think they even had Turning Point USA on there right before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Congressman Russell Fry, great to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.